Welcome to Place and Experience. Indulge your senses with immersive game titles. Boost the excitement with our engaging promotional tools and generous network promotions. Be in control with XI Viewport Management Tool and experience seamless gameplay powered by X Platform. Enjoy Place and Experience as our partners do in over 20 regulated markets. And get ready to go big. Big play is on. Placent.
Well, there you go. We are live and welcome back to another edition of your Next.io weekly news, plucking the apple of truth from the tree of information. Nico, you've joined me al fresco today. I know you're very busy. I must say thank you for being with me, although you're having a very busy week. I know. Where are you? What are you doing?
I'm in Amsterdam at IGB. It's the last one here in Amsterdam, hosted by IGB. As you mentioned, busy week, and it was nice seeing once again the gaming and iGaming family. And yeah, we are blessed with nice weather, blessed with nice folks running around, and catching up some stories. But we might get back to this one later.
Nice. Yeah, I'm not envious or jealous at all. I'm very happy to be in London still. Never mind. I'm glad you're enjoying yourself. I'm sure it's lots of fun out there. Any big talking points you've taken away from the conference so far? How long's it been going? A couple of days already? Is it day 2 today?
Yeah, it's day 2, so it's the last day. Each and everybody's kind of sad that it's, as said, the last version or the last time we are all here in Amsterdam. It's tremendous because it's 30% bigger. They shifted it over to the bigger hall, and stands and booths just look amazing. And as said, there are rumors floating around, like who's going to fill the space. But as you all know, Next.io, we don't comment on rumors. As soon as rumors become facts, you can read them at Next.io, and we will just follow this principle.
I like it, Nico. Let's see. It will be a shame not to have a show in Amsterdam. It was the first event I ever went to in my iGaming career when I joined Clarion Events a few years ago. It was my first ever introduction to the iGaming world. So, yes, it always holds a special place in my heart, Nico, and it would be sad to see it go. I should have tried to show up for the last ever event, but never mind. You can't do
I am here, Connor, as I am here, at least half of the new dynamic duo is here, and we are sending our best regards, and I'm representing the both of us in a proper way.
That's it. Well, RGB Live will be much easier for me to attend next year because it will be here in London, so just down the road for me. But yes, I'm experiencing the conference vicariously through you, Nico. But even though you've been very busy, I know that you never take your eye off the headlines. You're always super well connected and well informed. So even though you're traveling, why don't you relay to us your top 10 stories of the week so far? It's Nico Jansen's 10 in 5. Nobody does it quite like him.
Thank you. So, being at one iconic event, talking about one legendary closing down, there's another legend closing down, as the iconic The Mirage Resort closed after 34 years to make way for the Hard Rock Hotel and Casino. On Wednesday, just yesterday, the Mirage Hotel and Casino in Las Vegas closed its doors permanently, marking the end of a 34-year legacy. Known as the first mega resort on the Strip, the Mirage revolutionized the casino business model with its focus on non-gaming amenities such as entertainment, dining, exotic animals, and free attractions. It will be replaced by the Hard Rock Hotel and Casino Las Vegas and Guitar Hotel Las Vegas. Still staying in the US, as the NBA announces a $76 billion broadcast deal. So the NBA has netted a record broadcast deal with ESPN, ABC, NBC, and Amazon worth $76 billion. And this multi-year media partnership will begin at the start of the 25-26 season and has been described as one of the most valuable in all sports. So ESPN, NBC, and Amazon's Prime Video, the league's first exclusive streaming partner, will receive a lion's share of regular season games. It is believed that once the NFL season concludes in February, NBC and Amazon will replace NFL time slots for NBA games, maximizing potential viewership. And then, as we are in the Netherlands, the new KSA president um, backs globalized approach against the black market threats. So Michael Grothuizen has delivered his first address as chairman of the KSA, the Netherlands, the Dutch gambling authority, opening IGB Live. And he said, I am probably entirely new to you, but the gaming market is not entirely new to me. And he was involved in when they set up the overall regulatory board. Then shifting over to your home country, as UK gambling looks to strengthen ties to new government. As the political evolution in the UK continues and the dust settles on a dominant Labour general election, when Bagda, which is the online version of player self-exclusion, etc., has put plans in motion for increased collaboration with the country's new leadership. The expanding in the initiative, Bagda Executive Director George McGregor, the older brother of Conor McGregor, stated, this is the first occasion in the 2 decades that I have worked with Bagda that we have systematically mapped MPs with members. We have used the general election outcome to create a geopolitical footprint in the industry. Then heading over to France, as illegal market outstrip licensed French gambling, so does the regulatory board warns. French Online Gaming Association says Euro 2024 handle for its members fell far below pre-tournament estimates amid a rise in illegal gambling in the country. The illegal gambling problem has reached a tipping point, which illegal players totaling 4 million in 2023, ahead of the regulated sector, which comes in at 3.6 million. Then heading over back to the US, as Belly secures a roughly 2 billion GLPI funding for the Chicago casino project. So besides New York, there will also be a big casino project in Chicago, and Bally's Corporation has announced a partnership with Gaming and Leisure Properties, shortly GLPI, to secure a 2 billion in funding for its Chicago casino and entertainment complex. This collaboration will facilitate the development of a 500-room hotel tower as part of a single-phase project slated for completion by September 2026. Still staying in the US, as FanDuel and New York Racing Association settle contract dispute. FanDuel and the New York Racing Association have reached a resolution in their contract dispute. The agreement will allow pari-mutuel wagering on the NYRA's live racing content to return to FanDuel's online platform. Then a little bit about numbers. Evoke reports Q2 2024 revenue of 431 million pounds and adjusts the full year 2024 expectations. Then Lotto 24 published full year 2023 numbers, and the revenue is up 11%, and they reported a total of 885 million euros. And last but not least, Xirza takes 70% stake in Apuesta Total, which is a Peru-based sports betting operator. So Caesar is set to become one of the largest gambling operators in Peru after purchasing a 70% stake in Apuesta Total. The size of the transaction was not disclosed, but to give you a feeling, since its funding in 2014, Apuesta Total has enjoyed robust growth, with most recently reporting over 100 million in GDR in 2023. And usually the equity kicker is around, for the multiplier, is around 5 to 7. So in the reach of 500 or 700 million, this should be the total worth of the deal, just based on other acquisitions in the same vertical. That's it from my end for the 10 and 5.
There you go. Thank you, Nico. And I think a lot of listeners might have noticed that it's a little bit US heavy on news this week. I wonder if half of the European gambling sector is all where you are right now. And that's why we haven't had as many headlines from this side of the Atlantic. But we're going to carry on with the American theme. We've got a bit of a US special for you today because we've got two more main stories from the US. And the first one is all about Washington, D.C. Finally, Nico, Washington, D.C.'s competitive online sports betting market has gone live. It went live yesterday as BetMGM and Caesars Sportsbook launched their online offerings. Now, I'll get onto the bit more detail on that because technically they were already available, but only with very strict limits. So let's get into it. We're going to take a little trip down memory lane here, Nico. I'm sure you remember that Washington, D.C. launched its sports betting market in a very unique way back in 2020. So the primary operator was Intralot, got this big contract to operate a brand called Gambit DC. And I think it's fair to say, Nico, that was broadly considered to have been a bit of a disaster. People didn't like it. The odds were very poor. The customer experience was very poor. And so compared to the massive competitors in the US, Gambit DC completely fell behind, and it didn't appear to be a functioning system for a competitive or for a healthy sports betting market. BetMGM and Caesars also had retail sportsbook in a sports arena, and they had mobile apps that you could use as long as you were within a 2-block radius, I think, of those retail sportsbooks. So extremely limited. It wasn't exactly a competitive market. So in March this year, Washington, D.C. announced that FanDuel would take over from Gambit DC's operations. That was across online and retail to try and offer customers a better experience, basically, and to try and generate some more money for the district. And then a few months later, in June, DC Council lawmakers voted to open up the district's online sports betting market through the budget process. So what they did was included an amendment in the 2025 budget for the district, and that allowed for different operators to enter the market and operate in Washington, D.C. What happened this week? Well, Washington, D.C. Mayor Muriel Bowser sent the budget back to the D.C. Council unsigned. So she didn't approve it, but she also didn't veto it. Which caused some delays because the sports books were expecting that they were going to be able to launch straight away. It wasn't officially approved by the mayor, but according to a statement that's come from the mayor's press secretary, the budget is still effectively approved, even though it wasn't signed. So the law in DC states that the mayor returning the budget unsigned will still permit it to pass into law, but by not signing it, it's a demonstration of the mayor's objections to several elements of the budget passed by the DC Council, but sports betting in DC will move forward as detailed in the budget. So, with the budget effectively approved, BetMGM and Caesars Sportsbook both went live yesterday in Washington, DC. They were the first operators to go live because, as we mentioned, they already had a retail presence in the city. But other operators are thought to be interested in launching in DC in the future. So I think when we start to get results from Washington, DC, Nico, we're going to see a very different story now in 2024 to what we've seen over the past few years. We track this kind of thing quite closely. We get some good data from Eilers and Krajcek Gaming, and they check and keep on top of data from each and every state where sports betting's live, and they do a year-on-year comparison with the previous 12 months and the trailing 12 months. Anyway, DC's revenue has been going down and down and down, basically, because I think it's easy. It's probably better, surrounded by Maryland. You're probably better off just leaving DC and betting in Maryland or some other neighboring state than actually using the DC operations. So all that could be set to change now. So instead of, very limited, still only a handful of operators. You only have FanDuel, BetMGM and Caesars, but Nico, hopefully, looks like a positive change for the market. I guess we'll see what happens next with the mayor and the fact that she didn't seem to be particularly happy with the budget, but it has come into, it has been kind of effectively approved anyway. What do you make of this one?
So first of all, we have at least the two top leaders in the US with FanDuel and DraftKings already up and running. Then BetMGM and Caesars, of course. So these are the strongest products in the US, and it just smells and feels a little bit like the story we also see in Florida with the Seminole tribe having the exclusive right, actually offering sports betting, but they are using the offerings of Hard Rock as well, just to run the sports bet or the sports betting operations. As you already pointed out, Gambets DC, of course, they had a monopoly, and we all know that competition keeps you in condition. They had the exclusive rights just in Washington DC, and it seems like there has been a lot of room to improve, and everybody seems to be happy that at least the big competitors are now able to offer their sports betting portfolio also in Washington, D.C.
Yeah, that's a good point about DraftKings. Actually, I just checked. I think DraftKings is on its way to Washington. They're talking about it. There's a couple of articles saying that it will be live in DC soon. So maybe this week even, but we'll keep an eye on that one. Now, we've got another story we're going to move on to. We'll keep it nice and light and quick today. We've got one more story to look at, but first, I think we have a quick video message to show you, if our producer can put that on now.
Games, hundreds of studios, dozens of Hub Market partners, an industry-leading Hub wallet, and just one API. Hub 88 is connecting businesses to a world of limitless content where the possibilities are endless. Hub 88.
And thank you very much, as always, to Hub 88 for sponsoring this episode. Now, Nico, it's only a week or two since we spoke about layoffs at Rivalry up in Canada, and it looks like we got some more layoffs today or this week in the US. So we've had some good news out of DC and some not so good news to look at next. Why don't you fill us in what's happening at Penn Entertainment?
Yeah, as you already pointed out, so Penn Interactive obviously joins the laying of people trend like Rivalry initiated a couple of weeks ago, and we covered this one as well. So Penn Entertainment has made multiple redundancies in its interactive division to position it for a new phase of growth. In a message sent to the team members and seen by us, Next.io, CEO and President Jay Snowden said, "This week we are implementing changes at Penn Interactive to help streamline reporting lines, enhance operation efficiencies, and leverage shared resources across Penn. Unfortunately, these changes will result in a limited number of team member separations. While it is difficult to see colleagues' impact, We deeply appreciate their contributions and are committed to supporting them through the transition. The company did not disclose the number of employees affected. However, we believe the redundancies will include positions at ESPN Bet as well.
Yeah, I think ESPN Bet is one of those brands, yet another one of those brands that had high expectations and has fallen short of those expectations. But this was quite an interesting story because actually, Snowden, the CEO, actually put the blame back a lot further than that. So he justified the layoffs by saying the company was overdue a restructuring after its acquisition of the Score back in October 2021. That was a $2 billion deal. At the time, probably one of the biggest deals ever in the betting and gaming sector. And Snowden said in the last couple of days, he said, as you know, when Penn acquired the Score, we hit the ground running with the build out of our proprietary tech stack and the migration of our sportsbook to the Score's best-in-class platform. This led us to temporarily set aside any potential organizational changes that would typically follow a major acquisition. While we recognize that change is never easy, these evolutions will enable us to better capitalize upon our new phase of growth. It's a bit of corporate speak here, Nico. I'm not going to say he's making excuses. I believe that maybe the organizational question took a back seat following the acquisition, and it's kind of, I don't know why it's taken until now, 3 years later, to actually get this done. I think, perhaps some people would suggest that it's more to do with the ESPN deal, which is another huge cost. It doesn't sound like he's kind of positioning all this in a positive way, but there's still a lot of work to be done at Penn, I think, in terms of online. And we'll come on to that in a second. But on a more positive note, Snowden said that the interactive business, including ESPN Bet in the US and the Score Betting Casino in Canada, is a core pillar of the company. He said the business is well positioned and Penn continues to add capabilities and key talent to advance our digital growth strategy. This includes building upon the momentum of our partnership with ESPN, with upcoming product enhancements and a deeper integration into the ESPN ecosystem. Again, Nico, I don't know. It's been tried. Even Penn itself is now on its kind of third, big media deal with an attempt to make the media drive betting activity. And we've never really seen it work. I think you can put the odds on every ESPN broadcast all you want, but it's not going to make people want to use your product, especially if they're already using, one of your competitors who's got a much bigger market share. So it seems like a bit of a square peg in a round hole or something like this. It's not a strategy that many other companies seem to be pursuing. So it's a very difficult one. Now, of course, this has led a lot of investors, and in particular, some kind of activist investors, including Donerail Group, to urge Penn management to consider a strategic review or something like that, a buyout, a sell-off, whatever. So speculation is mounting around a potential sale of Penn Entertainment, although there has been no official confirmation of an acquisition offer. So in June, it was reported that Boyd Gaming had made a potential $9 billion acquisition offer to Penn. Let's not forget, of course, Penn has a huge network of land-based casinos and operations. It's not just online; they've got a big business. And then this month, there were further media reports that suggested Flutter Entertainment could actually go in together with Boyd in a shared acquisition. But yeah, basically, investor dissatisfaction has been growing. We had that letter from Donerail Group in May, which urged a complete sale of the business. Managing Director William Wyatt, Managing Director of Donerail Group, said that Penn had a misguided interactive strategy and poor capital allocation, and said that that has eroded shareholder value. So he advocated for a strategic shift, and proposed that sale of Penn's assets could unlock value for shareholders. This would be a huge M&A deal, Nico. Lots of moving parts, debt, cash, this, that, the other. It would be a massive deal. It's a lot of, I think whoever, if you were to buy that whole group, you probably take on quite a lot of liability in addition to the assets you're going to get hold of. So it's maybe, it's maybe not the, I don't know. If I had $9 billion, I don't think I'd buy it. What do you think?
So first of all, and we covered this one in the last week's 10 and 5. So we've seen the stock prices of Flutter and of Penn going up at least 5% as soon as the rumors actually spread. So if you can afford a deal worth 9 billion, I'm pretty sure, and as we've already seen now, you will also lay off people because you have redundancies all over the place, yada yada yada, etc. So first of all, this is just what we see, that M&A activities in the US don't stop, they never stop, and we see the bigger fish actually biting the smaller fish. It sounds weird, based on the fact that we are talking about a $9 billion acquisition, and I just labeled this one as a smaller fish. Of course, if someone else is buying you, and we're not living in the 888 William Hill world where the smaller one actually bid off the way bigger one, and we've seen quite a lot of M&A activities already in the US. Don't forget about Typico being bought by Caesars as well, because they were relying on the software, and then you can just extract the software and the licenses to actually operate your business in the US. And as said, it will never get boring in the US, especially with these companies obviously being for sale. We've seen this also with Wynn as well. As soon as they got the go to actually, proceed or go on with their Ras Al Khaimah casino resort, out of a sudden, their online offerings had been for sale, and there was a price rumored of 500 to 600 million. As you already pointed out, 9 billion doesn't come cheap, but there are some companies obviously willing to actually open their pockets, pull out a $9 billion check, and then just invest it.
Yeah, well, it's one that we'll be keeping an eye on. It happens a lot of the time, doesn't it? You get a month or two of speculation, people chatting, and then either something happens or it doesn't. Sometimes it just goes away. The rumors just disappear and nothing happens. And sometimes people come back and say, I told you so, and it does happen. So we'll keep our eye on this one, Nico. If you get any tips from the conference in Amsterdam, let us know. And, like you say, we won't report on the rumors. We only report the facts. But, we'll keep our eye on this one. Anything else to add this week, or do you want to get back to your conference? I think I've kept you for long enough.
So, first of all, and that was once again very, very funny. And I just, applause once again to our listeners. And actually, some very, very beautiful people actually came up to me and they were like, "Hey, you're the Nico from the Next IO podcast. I know you. Shout out to you." And it's always good getting some feedback, because in the end, it's just either Connor and me, Connor and Zach, Pierre and me just discussing things. It's just 2, 3, 4 mates just talking and discussing the latest and greatest. We just do this for you, to just keep you informed. And whenever you feel the urge to give us feedback, just come up to us, talk to us, and we're always happy to discuss things with you. And feedback in any way And usually it's very positive feedback, is highly appreciated. So once again, a shout out to all of you, all our listeners. And as said, it's always great having you and pleasing you with your desire of information just being brought right into your ears and into your heads as well.
Nice one, Nico. I hope there isn't too much paparazzi for you when you get back to the conference. You get a bit of space and no photos today, please. But it's been good of you to join me. Thank you very much. And thank you to everyone for listening. I should also say thank you to Place and to Hub 88 for sponsoring this episode. And we will be back. Nico, where will you be next week? We never know. You're an international jet setter. You could be anywhere.
Yeah, probably back in Munich, but we will see. We will see. Wherever I'm needed.
That's it, mate. Absolutely right. Same time, same place next week. We'll see you back here. Nico, thanks a lot, man. I'll see you next week.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thousands of games, hundreds of studios, dozens of Hub Market partners, an industry-leading Hub wallet, and just one API. Hub 88 is connecting businesses to a world of limitless content where the possibilities are endless. Hub 88.